These are my bookshelves. They contain only some of the books I own. How did I get here? How did it come to this? This is my story. I grew up in a family of readers. Both of my parents had their own entire collections of books, and our house seemed to be filled to the brim with them. And the same goes for my grandparents. So pretty much everywhere I went when I was little, I was surrounded by books. I was also the youngest in my family, so by the time that I was born, my parents had acquired a pretty large collection of children's books. Almost every single night my dad would read to me. Dr. Seuss, Little Golden Books, books from his childhood. He even spent several weeks reading The Hobbit to me. So you can imagine that by the time I was old enough to start learning how to read, I was pretty psyched about it. I felt so ready, so confident. But then it wasn't as easy as I anticipated. In fact, I struggled a lot with reading. It was something that didn't really click for me for a long time. And I distinctly remember one day crying, telling my mom that I quit and I could get through life perfectly fine without being able to read. Thankfully though, one day it did all click. And from then on, I was a new person. I also felt like I had something to prove now that I was able to read. Every week we went to the library, and it was my favorite day. I would bring a tote bag and get as many books as I could carry and read them as fast as possible. I even went out of my way to look for books that said they were above my reading level. I read every kind of book, and I read them as fast as possible. Fantasy novels, the classics, sci-fi, contemporary. I honestly didn't care as long as I had a story to get engrossed in. It was something that I have continued my entire life, although it wasn't until later that I began to appreciate the books themselves and not just the stories inside them. A reason that I have so many books on my shelf is because I just really adore the paper, the binding, the lettering, the glue, everything that is a part of a book, especially those antique ones with the yellowed pages and four-leaf clovers inside. There's something really special about those tangible objects that you don't get with a lot of other media. With movies, they don't change over time, but books, the stories stay the same, but the outside of it, this capsule that it's in, can change and evolve, and it's really special. So I've always loved books, and I probably always will love books, and that's my story.